how it works.
What do you mean that's not how it works? That's exactly how it works. I do all the work, I take all the risk, and you get all the money.
Bringing in a record-breaking $120,000 haul of gold should have been a winning start to Tony's season, but things are about to take a drastic turn. With one of his key machines out of order and a crucial mining project stalled, Tony's journey for gold is anything but smooth. The inspectors have just shut down his operations, turning his plans upside down. Time is running out, and his dream of success is slipping. Tune in to see if he can turn this sinking season around, or if this setback spells the end. 2 sites, no gold. In a remote place about 100 miles west of Condic, Tony Beets is facing a tough situation. His mining site at Paradise Hill has come to a complete stop because a key machine called a trommel is broken. On top of that, his other mining project at Indian River isn't running at all. 2 months into the mining season, Tony still hasn't found any gold. One important phone call could make or break his season. But the worst surprise of the season is still waiting to strike. Last week, some mining inspectors showed up at Indian River and shut down the operation, saying that Tony's team had broken some rules. They even stopped all filming at the site. This was a huge blow, especially since he had already put a lot of effort and resources into getting gold from Indian River. Tony admits he may have missed some important details in the mining license, which limited his team to working on a much smaller area than he'd originally planned.
To do that every year, so it'd be sure nice one of these days to get a license down there so we can stay here.
Instead of the 15 acres he was hoping to mine, Tony and his team were only allowed to dig on a single acre. This small plot was nowhere near what he needed to reach his goals for the season, so his hopes for Indian River were put on hold. But then, in a surprising turn, the inspector called him back with some better news. The issues were sorted out, and Tony's team could go back to mining the 15 acres they had originally planned to work on. Back at the mining site, Tony's daughter Monica is setting up the welding equipment. Tony is gearing up to fix another problem himself, this time a mechanical issue at the wash plant. The pressure is building up, with the season moving along and no gold in sight yet. Tony grabs the welder himself to fix a piece called the tailings diverter, feeling frustrated that he has to do it on his own due to a shortage of welders. So far, the season has been full of difficulties. Mechanical breakdowns, strict rules from the inspectors, and wild weather, from burning hot days to endless rain, have kept getting in the way. But Tony is not ready to give up. He pushes through, fixing the equipment and getting the plant ready to start up again. Finally, after weeks of delays and countless hours of hard work, the wash plant is up and running. Monica loads the first batch of rocks into the hopper, kicking off the gold processing. This moment is a big deal. After such a long wait, everyone feels a sense of excitement.
Because that thing, that with everything. By the time they rewrite, redo, bingo.
Every flick of a switch and every scoop of dirt feels twice as important now, after all the interruptions they've had. As the plant rumbles to life, Tony watches carefully, feeling a mix of hope and nervousness. The season has thrown a lot of problems their way, but seeing the machines in action gives him a bit of relief. The first day back in operation shows some solid progress, yet the true measure of success will come down to the gold count at the end of the run. A few hours later, the family gathers for the moment of truth. It's been 4 years since they last mined at Indian River, and the excitement in the air is thick. The scales finally show the amount of gold collected, and the total reveals a significant find, worth over $120,000. While this is just a small portion of what they hope to get, it's a promising start. The beginning of the season may have been rough, but now every ounce of gold matters even more. The Beets family feels a renewed sense of hope, ready to take on the next day and whatever challenges it might bring. As they wrap up their work for the day, one thing is clear. Despite the setbacks, there's gold in the ground at Indian River, and they're back on the road to digging it out. The Beets family fights on, but Rick Ness faces an even tougher challenge as the season heats up. The high cost of low yields. Halfway through the mining season, Rick Ness was feeling the weight of a tough situation. He had been running his gold mining operation on a very tight budget. He only hired a small team and used just the most necessary equipment. His goal was to make as much profit as possible from the gold they managed to pull out. But despite these careful plans, Rick had only managed to gather 95 ounces of gold, and much of that hard-earned gold had already been spent on fuel and wages for his team. Rick's situation was looking shaky. He had made a big promise to Troy Taylor, which now felt like a heavy burden. Rick had even pledged his mining camp as security to Troy. He owed Troy a massive amount, $150,000. This debt hung over him like a dark cloud. Given how slowly they were mining gold, paying off such a huge sum seemed almost impossible. The season had started on an especially tough note. Rick couldn't even start mining right away because he had to sort out some problems with Troy, who actually owned the land. Troy had previously allowed Rick to mine without paying royalties, which gave him a bit of financial breathing room. But now, Troy wanted those royalties back. Feeling backed into a corner, Rick made a risky offer. He promised his camp to Troy as security if Troy would give him another chance to mine the gold-rich Raleigh Valley. After some thinking, Troy agreed to Rick's proposal, but he set a condition. He wanted a goodwill payment in gold as proof that Rick was serious. This payment would also help Troy feel more secure, given the financial risk he was taking.
I put my camp up on lien for Troy, and I owe 150 grand to him to get it back. Plus, I also want to make some profit this year.
But as the deadline for this gold payment got closer, Rick realized he didn't have nearly enough gold to meet it. He was already running his operations as hard as he could, putting a lot of pressure on himself and his team to meet this goal. In a tense meeting with Troy, Rick tried to buy himself more time. He suggested giving Troy a partial payment of 50 ounces of gold by the end of the week. This was much less than Troy had been expecting, and he agreed, though reluctantly. However, it was clear Troy's patience was running thin. This left Rick feeling anxious, knowing that if he couldn't keep this promise, he risked losing his camp entirely. With that deal made, the next few days became a race against time. The mining equipment, especially the feeder, kept breaking down, causing serious delays in production. Every time a machine failed, Rick and his team had to stop everything to fix it. This happened repeatedly, each breakdown feeling like a ticking clock counting down the time they had left to gather enough gold. One particularly difficult breakdown involved a large rock that jammed the system. Rick and his crew jumped into action, working hard to clear the jam. These efforts were exhausting and slowed them down, making it even harder to meet their goal of 50 ounces by the end of the week. The longer the week went on, the more stressed the crew became. They worked as fast as they could, knowing that every ounce of gold mattered. Each moment felt tense, filled with urgency. Finally, after days of constant labor and stress, the crew conducted a weigh-in. They watched the scales closely, hoping they'd hit their target. The scales tipped just past the 50-ounce mark, giving them a small but significant win in an otherwise challenging season. Rick now had the gold he needed, at least for this immediate payment. He met with Troy to hand over the 50 ounces. Troy examined the gold, acknowledging the hard work and struggle that went into collecting it. Although this payment allowed Rick to keep his camp for now, it reminded him just how fragile his situation was. For a moment, Rick and his team felt a wave of relief. They had met this tough goal, but they knew there was still a long season ahead. The path forward was clear. They needed to mine even more gold to cover all their financial obligations and save Rick's mining business. Every day was sure to bring new obstacles, but with the immediate threat to his camp eased, Rick felt ready to push forward. The thought of finally finding stability and maybe even success gave him the determination to keep going. When things seem impossible, a small win can make all the difference. And with this bit of breathing room, Rick could focus on keeping his team motivated, taking on each challenge as it came. While Rick races to save his camp, Beets sets his sights on a huge, ambitious target. 5,000 ounces or bust. In the cold and busy mining season, Tony Beets, well known as the king of the Klondike, is focused on reaching an incredible goal: 5,000 ounces of gold. With careful planning and a motivated crew, Beets is giving everything he's got to meet this target. The season is looking hopeful, and they're now only 900 ounces away from this big milestone. Just last week, they cut through an 80-foot layer in their mining area, which brought in over 500 ounces of gold from a rich deposit called the White Channel. This big find has raised everyone's spirits and pushed the team to work even harder. Tony is hopeful that the success will continue, since it seems that more valuable gold might be right beneath their feet. Yet nature doesn't make things easy. Heavy rain has been pouring down, which raises the water levels in the ponds they use for mining. This makes it harder to keep everything under control. The team has had to deal with several breaks in the pond's dikes, the walls that hold back water, so they keep having to fix and strengthen them to prevent any big spills.
Pay just back here that we need to get to. So we're building a road over top of all this because with all the weather we've been having, all the rain and stuff, it's been making everything just slop.
To handle this problem, Tony decided to keep things running day and night, which doubles the amount of water they can push out of their setup and helps keep the ponds under control. He knows that sturdy dikes are essential to keep their mining operations safe and on track. During these times, good communication is key. When Tony got word that one of the dikes might break, he acted quickly, ordering repairs right away to avoid any delay in getting the gold. With the water constantly pushing against the dikes, the crew had to stay on guard and ready to jump into action to keep their setup safe. But then, the team faced a new challenge. Mike, one of the operators, accidentally got too close to one of the settling ponds where water collects and settles out any dirt. His vehicle got completely stuck in the mud, making the situation even more difficult. As soon as Tony found out, he organized a plan to get Mike and his vehicle out safely. The scene was intense. Large machines rumbled in, trying to reach Mike's vehicle in the thick mud. With engines roaring, the crew called out instructions, trying to figure out the best way to pull the vehicle free. Despite their best attempts, the mud held on tight, making it clear just how tough these wet conditions were. This incident reminded everyone why safety rules are so important. The settling pond is a key part of their operation, but it's also dangerous if people get too close without thinking. This situation highlighted why everyone needs to follow the set paths and rules to stay safe and keep everything running smoothly. After hours of teamwork, problem solving, and a lot of patience, they finally managed to pull Mike's vehicle out. Though it was a rough experience, it showed just how valuable experience and quick thinking are when things go wrong. It also reminded the team of the importance of following safety guidelines, which could prevent future incidents. And while they faced tough challenges, the idea of striking gold kept everyone going. Tony's determination to reach his 5,000-ounce goal grew stronger with each bit of gold they dug up. Every time they weighed the gold, seeing the total rise gave everyone a new sense of hope and reminded them that all their hard work was paying off. In the world of mining, every day is different, bringing both new struggles and small victories. For Tony and his team, this season felt like a non-stop challenge against nature, broken machines, and the constantly changing ground they worked on. Still, they kept their spirits high, driven by the chance to find gold and the pride of overcoming obstacles. This dedication was evident as they tackled each problem with a fresh perspective and the resolve to see things through. By the end of the week, all their efforts paid off with an impressive find, $850,000 worth of gold. This incredible achievement boosted their season's earnings, proving that their hard work and careful planning were worth it. Despite facing rough weather and setbacks, the team's confidence grew with each success, and their passion for the job deepened. This victory pushed them to keep going, conquering the challenges of mining in the Klondike. After a season of challenges, we look back at Beets' journey from simple roots to where he stands today. The farmer who dreamed of more. Tony Beets is one of the most famous people to come from the small village of Witteveen in the Netherlands. Growing up, he lived a simple life that revolved around farm work and taking care of the land. He did many things you'd expect on a farm: planting, feeding animals, and other daily tasks. However, continuing in that life didn't feel right. Instead, he dreamed of a different future. And one day, a simple conversation about farm life made him realize he was ready for a change. So he made a bold decision. He would leave farming behind and look for new opportunities. At 23, he and his partner Minnie, who was 22, decided to make a big move. They packed their bags and set off for Canada, ready to begin a new chapter in their lives. Moving across the globe wasn't easy, especially since they didn't have much. With only $300 and no English, the journey became even more challenging. But they were determined to make it work. In their first days in Canada, he took a job milking cows, which didn't pay much, and Minnie tried learning English by watching TV shows. Their jobs were simple, but soon they started to feel a spark of excitement about the possibilities that lay ahead. They eventually learned about the Yukon, a place far to the north in Canada, known for its opportunities in gold mining. With hopes of a better life, they decided to head there. In March 1981, the couple arrived in Dawson City. This trip would prove to be a major turning point. Once there, he met the owners of a local gold mining company called Tamarack. They offered him a trial period working for free. He didn't mind. He knew this was a chance to prove himself. For 6 months, he worked incredibly hard, often spending 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, without a single day off. As their family grew, the need to move beyond basic jobs in the mining field became clear. There were bigger ambitions driving him, and he wanted more control over his work. Eventually, he took a big leap and decided to buy Tamarack, the very company that had given him his first opportunity. Together, the couple poured their efforts into transforming Tamarack. Under their management, the company grew and gained a strong reputation in the gold mining world. The hard work and determination started to build respect and recognition across the industry. The world first saw him on television when he appeared in the second season of a popular show called Gold Rush. Known for his practical approach to mining and no-nonsense personality, he quickly became memorable on the show. When another miner, Todd Hoffman, came to him for advice, his straightforward attitude left a lasting impression. His focus, drill, 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 became one of his trademark phrases.
Drill, drill, drill. Pretty simple.
Highlighting his belief in hard work and staying focused, resonating not only with miners, but also with viewers at home. Isn't it amazing how one person's determination and hard work can change not only their own life, but also inspire others along the way? That's the kind of impact he had, both on the show and in real life. As his role on Gold Rush grew, so did his influence. He formed strong relationships with other miners, including a young miner named Parker Schnabel. From the beginning, he saw something special in Parker. Noticing Parker's eagerness and drive, qualities that reminded him of his own journey, he encouraged Parker in his mining career. This mentorship not only helped Parker develop his skills, but also showed the level of respect he'd earned in the mining world. The show didn't just cover his work, it sometimes touched on personal moments. One amusing instance involved his daughter Monica and Parker Schnabel. The show's producers seemed to entertain the idea of a romantic storyline between Monica and Parker, though nothing came of it. Still, moments like these added a personal touch to the professional lives displayed on screen. Through all the ups and downs, he has kept a simple yet determined approach to both mining and life. A man of action, he always chose to push forward rather than stay still. His journey from a Dutch farmer to a mining leader in Canada's Yukon shows how hard work, adaptability, and a willingness to take risks can change a person's life. His story isn't just about the gold he found, it's about the respect he earned and the way he built a life filled with purpose and success. Now, doesn't it inspire you to think about how a simple choice and hard work can completely transform a person's journey? The story reflects the true spirit of perseverance. Despite facing countless obstacles, he remained focused on his goals. His transformation from a farmer in a small Dutch village to an influential figure in gold mining is a story that encourages us all to stay determined, no matter what challenges come our way. But here's a thought. Would his story have been as powerful without the fame and influence of Gold Rush? Let us know your thoughts. Like, comment, and subscribe for more.